I feel like we've gotten past the garbage mistakes like, you know, follow for follow, or like the obvious advice like stream on a schedule that has just been beaten into your minds on every single advice video ever posted about Twitch. I've been streaming on Twitch for almost 4 years now, and I spent years making these mistakes that I didn't realize I was making until I started growing, and then I was able to look back and say like, oh my gosh, these were not only like not good things, these were bad things. And I don't think people realize that they're bad things because they sound really great in theory. And while you'll see like any advice channel pointing out the mistakes that like the brand new streamers make, I want to talk about some of the more subtle ones. Mistakes that I've seen streamers, not only that have like, you know, between 1 and 5 viewers, but streamers that have like up to 50 viewers. I've seen them make these mistakes. Intentions are always good. The effort is there. I see what they're trying to do. We just need to sidestep just a little bit, and we can turn those mistakes into really great practices. So let's do it. Let's talk about them. Let's get them out in the open, and let's fix them. There's a good chance you're saying to yourself, well, Harris, why should we trust you with this? Why do you know better than we do? I get that. That's fair. Let's address that. And then let's move on to these. Just a little background about me. If this is your first time in the channel, I've been a full-time content creator for 5 years. I started on a music channel with my wife. We built over 2 million accumulative followers. We had an amazing social media career. We watched our relevancy tank a little bit based off of not only algorithm changes on YouTube, really just kind of destroying the music scene, but also mistakes on my part, and really just a great learning experience. You know, your parents always say like, oh, it was a learning experience when they're talking about something really crappy that happened. You're like, no, it sucked. And they're like, no, you learned from it. It was a good thing. We're gonna move past that. I had a learning experience. But I've worked with massive brands like Microsoft, Google, Nissan. My wife and I were on screens in Times Square for Gap ads. Anyway, I've been in the industry for a very long time, and I've screwed up in this industry. I've learned the things that help people grow, and I've learned the things that keep people from growing. And trust me, when you used to have millions of people watching your content and then you have a hard time getting thousands of people to watch your content, you spend a lot of time reflecting on what did I do wrong. And so this video is my way of helping you not make those mistakes that I did. And most of these are just minor adjustments that you can make to put yourself back on the right course. In fact, a lot of these are just plain misconceptions and wrong ideas people have about how growth happens on social media and on places like Twitch. So anyway, let's get into it. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell if you want to be annoyed with every time I upload a video twice a week. I'm really selling it well there. Yes, hit the bell button so I can irritate you. And if you have any further questions after this video, make sure you follow me on Twitch. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday evening. Link to my channel down in the description below. Okay, number 1, let's talk about the only one in this group that I've actually said multiple times before this. There's a misconception. I've heard big streamers say, if you're not live, nobody will find you. And that is a lie. Because in 2019, if you're trying to grow on Twitch, if you're just starting, you are 1,000 people down on a list no matter what game you play. Even if you go live, nobody will find you. In the social media content creation industry, you have to be able to recognize what each platform is, what the weaknesses and strengths are, and what the purpose, why do people go to each one? What do they do? What are their habits on every single platform? And how can you cater to those platforms, right? But the bottom line is on Twitch, the strength comes from the fact that it's a live streaming platform where you're live for hours and there's a chat room that you interact with. So the strength is about engagement and communication and building relationships. It's a very intimate platform, while its weakness is discoverability. And so your time on the platform is best spent cultivating the relationships of the people that have found you and building those relationships versus something like YouTube, where there is an algorithm, there's a recommended feed, there's a homepage. There are plenty of ways to get discovered on YouTube or on Twitter. YouTube's strength is discoverability, and its weakness is, well, intimacy. There are plenty of people who, when the camera turns on them, they put on a face, they're a totally different person, the camera goes away, and they go back to being bland, vanilla, totally boring, not even that friendly people. I'm not talking about anyone in particular, by the way. This is not a hit piece. The point is, you can fake a YouTube personality. You can't on Twitch. Recognize these both as tools in your toolbox for your social media career. If you want to get discovered, spend time on YouTube. When you want to spend time cultivating those relationships, spend time on Twitch. And you need to find that balance. But I just watched a YouTube video recently talking about how you shouldn't stream big games. You should stream smaller games to help you get discovered. And that's just flat out wrong. If you look at your Twitch graph over here, what you're doing by playing a game you're not interested in is you're sacrificing your genuineness. You're sacrificing your integrity to just add a tiny bit more discoverability. And you know, honestly, I would even argue that it's not really helping your discoverability at all. You're hurting yourself much more than you're helping yourself by choosing a game based on what's going to get you discovered. Whereas if you create your best content where you can be your best you over here and then spend your time on a platform like YouTube to get yourself discovered, that's how you're going to grow. I would definitely recommend you spend time observing each of the platforms: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Try to figure out, why do you go to each platform? How can you cater to the type of person that uses that platform that way? Can I just add one more insight to this before we move on to the next one? This is probably going to be the longest one out of all of them. But I have a friend who has done a very good job of figuring out Reddit, has a massive karma score on Reddit, and has tried to use the exact same tactics to grow on Twitter. And he can't figure out why it's not working. I had a conversation with him about the different practices on each platforms. On Reddit, you hit the upvote button, it doesn't mean anything. It's a meaningless upvote. If you like something, you upvote it. You're good. The more upvotes it has, the higher it is on the subreddits, and the more people see it. On Twitter, the way to get something on people's timelines is for people to retweet it. Getting a bunch of likes generally doesn't get your tweet on people's timelines. You need retweets. And in order for someone to retweet it, they have to claim that content as their own. You can't anonymously retweet something because it shows up with your name on it when you retweet it. So in order to get something to grow on Twitter, you have to post content that people would be proud to share as their own opinion. Something that would grow really well on Reddit doesn't grow as well on Twitter, and vice versa. Okay, that's about as much as I wanted to get into that one. Hope it makes sense. We're gonna move on to the next one. Number 2, I've considered making a whole video on this, but it would just be nothing but a giant buzzkill. Hosts. Hosts do next to nothing. And I know that's the really hard thing for you to hear, because I know a lot of you have had really exciting hosts, or I know a lot of people have been waiting for big hosts. The bottom line is, when you host someone, it's fun and it's exciting and it boosts your morale, sure, but then there's an immediate crash the next stream because you're hoping a lot of those people stay, and the bottom line is nobody really stays. I have a good friend who streams for 100 to 200 people, streams Fortnite, a very good streamer, got hosted by Tfue like 2 weeks ago for like 40,000 viewers. And of course, that was an amazing stream. The next day, he was streaming for 110 people again. If I look at my analytics, in 2019, I've been hosted by over 10,000 individual viewers. Do you want to know, when I ask who came here from a host, how many people say me? Literally 0. Hosts need to be used as more of a business tactic than an actual growth mechanism. Hosts do more for the hoster than they do for the hostee. The way I use my host is, let's say there's someone streaming for 150 people, and I host that person with 150 people. That person recognizes me as someone who is about their size, who likes their content enough to send all of my viewers their way. It's a business contact worth pursuing. I'll hit them up on Twitter afterwards, we'll get to talking, lots of times those will turn into collaborations. That is the best way to use a host. Use a host to create contacts. But rarely will any of my viewers ever go back to that person streaming again. Maybe 1 or 2, it happens. But that host does very little for the streamer except for make them aware of my presence and create a contact. I have never seen someone blow up from a one-time host. Doesn't happen. Number 3. This is where we're getting into a little bit more of the mindset of the viewer and understanding why people come to the platform, even if they don't realize it themselves. And this is where we get into kind of some gray area and recognize that there is some crossover here, but it's still an important thing to understand. Every other social media platform is about entertainment. It's a one-way street. People make the content, they send it out, and the viewers consume the content. That's not the way Twitch is. Twitch is a two-way street. You are communicating with your viewers the same time they're communicating with you. You're creating the content together. And that, combined with the general audience on Twitch, creates something really special. The reason I think Twitch is blowing up the way it is because generally, and I know I'm tossing a wide net here, there are exceptions to this rule, but generally the people on Twitch are gamers and are people who, if you're anything like me, you don't like going out in public. You don't like being around large groups of people. Socializing to me is exhausting. And if you feel this way or have any more insights insights about that, please leave it in the comments down below. If I'm around more than 3 people at a time, I just stop talking. I feel like it becomes less of a conversation and more of a battle for social dominance. And generally the audience on Twitch, they feel similar to what I do. But we are humans, we are social beings by nature, and we need that social experience, and Twitch has provided an opportunity for us to connect with people. Not only other people in chat rooms, but with someone we can watch and listen and talk to. We can say things, they'll respond. We can connect with people that we look up to and enjoy. And I've discovered over the last year or so that Twitch is less about raw entertainment and it's more about personal, intimate relationships that you build. Your viewers will come back to your stream not because you are the loudest, hypest person on the platform that screams and yells and has flashing lights, and that's not what people come back for. People come to Twitch for a relationship. I'm not saying entertainment's not important. Of course, do everything you can to make your stream more fun to watch and engaging so people aren't bored. But if you can build a relationship with your viewers, spend some time in just chatting. Get to know as many of your viewers as you can. Let them know a little bit of your history. Let them know how you get started. Let them know some of your struggles. If your viewers feel like they know you and they feel like you know them, they'll come back. So let's see, we've covered streaming too much, not spending enough time on discoverable platforms. We've talked about the misconception about hosts. We talked about people trying to be too entertaining and ruin the authenticity of their stream. Number 4. And I see this in the comment section a lot. We've gotten to such an interesting point where I remember when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a professional football player, which by the way, I was not good enough to do that. But nowadays, every kid in elementary school or middle school, they want to be a YouTuber. They want to be a streamer. Because when we are live, when we're in videos, when we're on stream, we're putting on our best faces. And let's face it, it's a really, really cool job. But it's still a job. It's still a career. And there are going to be times when you have a schedule set and you're sitting there 5 minutes before your stream starts and you're saying, I really don't want to do it right now. And I'll see comments saying, well then don't do it. Focus on you. Take a break. I don't subscribe to that mindset, because the bottom line is every moment you're not streaming, every moment you're not creating content, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, or whatever, someone else is. Sometimes you have to go live when you don't want to. Sometimes you have to film videos when you don't want to. It is 3 in the morning. I have to wake up in 5 hours to get on a flight for DreamHack. I have to get this video done if I want YouTube to put me in their algorithm and put videos in the recommended feed. I have to, so I'm here. Also, to be fair, my sleep schedule is destroyed and I'm wide awake right now, but that's not the point. Streaming is an amazing job, but that doesn't mean it's fun all the time. It's still a job. Treat it like a career. The people who try the hardest are the ones who grow the most. By the way, I do want to point out, if you suffer from anxiety or depression and you're actually hurting yourself, yes, please take a break. Take care of yourself. Your mental health is important. Burnout is real. There is a balance. Last one, number 5. The awareness of utilizing other social platforms to engage an audience and bring them over to your Twitch channel. The awareness of that is growing. More and more people are making content on other platforms, which is great. Let's take it a step further and talk about the type of content, because 99% of the people who post content to Twitter and YouTube are getting less than 100 views. And there's a reason for it. Recycled Twitch content only works if you're in the top 10 streamers on the internet. If you are not Ninja or Shroud, stop posting your Twitch content to YouTube. No one wants to watch a Twitch compilation on YouTube. It doesn't work. Posting highlight clips to Twitter after your stream doesn't work. You need to come up with original content. And let me clarify here, if you're a massive Twitch streamer and you stream full time, you don't have time to make YouTube content, but your Twitch is doing well so it doesn't matter, and you want to remonetize some of that content over on YouTube by just grabbing highlights and throwing them up there, sure, that's great. But if you're trying to use social media to grow your Twitch because your Twitch isn't big, I promise you, if only 50 people watch your Twitch content on Twitch, fewer people will watch your Twitch content on other places. Let's use a very good streamer as an example. Now this guy's actually a friend of mine. He's a very good streamer. Streams from, you know, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people at any given time. He's an excellent Fortnite player. Very good streamer all around. And he's doing really well too. This definitely isn't like a jab at his career. But it's important that you recognize that even someone with 1,000 viewers on Twitch, if you take a look at his YouTube channel, it's that same content of recycled Twitch content posted to YouTube, which is fine because he's a successful full-time streamer. But over the last 2 months of his nearly daily content, he doesn't have a single video that gets over 600 views. And again, not to tear this guy down, he's a fantastic streamer. YouTube is just not his top priority. But what I'm trying to get you to recognize is that if this guy can't get YouTube views, I promise you posting compilations of your Twitch content will not get you discovered. You need to be making original content. And you know what? If you don't have time for that, let me give you some suggestions. Come up with stuff that you can do during your Twitch streams that will be good YouTube content. For example, doing a whole series where you talk with a funny voice changer to your random teammates in a game and getting their best reactions, that's clickable YouTube content. Hiring someone on Fiverr to teach you how to play a game that you're actually really good at is really good YouTube content. You can do that on your Twitch channel, cut it up, make it a really great compilation, maybe throw some dialogue over the top so it looks like original content. Throw it on YouTube. And I get the argument against that then, like, so what do I do? Just stop making content? Look, if you're using this kind of editing and posting to grow your skills as an editor, by all means, keep doing it. This kind of stuff isn't like the other ones where it hurts you. I would say the way that this hurts you is it gives you false hope in something that doesn't do anything. It wastes your time, it wastes your brain capacity. You could be spending that time you're editing these useless videos and instead spend it on something that's actually gonna help you out. So no, these videos aren't a bad thing to make. If you wanna use them as practice, do it. But if you're trying to grow, use the limited time that you have on good original content that works. Because recycled content just doesn't. And that's it. That's the whole thing. If you want a refresher of everything I said, here's a list of all 5 of those categories or whatever you want to call them. If there's something you think I missed or you have any commentary on anything I said, feel free to leave it down in the description below. I realize that there are exceptions to just about every single rule I could ever give. It's important that you recognize that. But if I were to leave this with one last tip, the most important thing you can do is make the assumption that you are not the exception. If you make the assumption that you are the rule and not the exception, and you play by the rules that work better, you're gonna have a better chance of growing. I know big streamers have grown without face cams. I know Twitch clips have gone viral. Those are exceptions. Don't ever expect them to happen because then you're relying on luck. Do the things that are proven to work. You'll have more success that way. If you want to have a full-on discussion about this, again, please feel free to jump on my Twitch channel. If you want to talk to other people about this, maybe have a conversation with the community, the Alpha Gaming Discord is amazing. We're just at about 15,000 members right now. Feel free to join that. Links in the description below. And as always, happy streaming.
This is a momentous occasion. 8 squads left and I'm getting a craver. Oh my gosh.
Get back here. Bow. Bow. Get back here. Bow.
Oh.